Perhaps I'll start with you about the Falcons. I think Arthur Smith should be named Coach of the Year. That team somehow won 6 games, and they're in the play. It is week in and week out. I have no idea how they do it. Smoke and mirrors. Arthur Smith has aged 65 years over the course of these 13 games. He looks terrible, but hopefully he's healthy, and hopefully he wins Coach of the Year because he's done a bang-up job. So pick 9. I mean, there's still only Matt Corral is off the board in terms of my mock draft. He could still be on the board. All the quarterbacks could be here depending on how this thing unfolds. If you're the Falcons, Matt Ryan, I think it's almost impossible to get out from under his deal in terms of salary cap implications next year. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just going to cost you a little bit. What are you doing here if you're the Falcons? Defense has played sort of better, but I mean, AJ Terrell's been great. Other than that, there still needs everywhere.
Yeah, I would probably go defense, and that's me kind of going against my own philosophy of just in today's NFL, you got to prioritize offense whenever you can. I agree. Like if they love Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett and you say, hey, we're going to sit you for a season behind Matt Ryan, then I wouldn't hate it because it's the most valuable position on the field. But you're right. There's AJ Terrell, there's Grady Jarrett, and there's not really anything else. And since that Patriots Super Bowl, I mean, I know Deion Jones can still flash here and there. They have really lost a lot of talent on that side of the ball. I think that has held them back from being like an in the hunt NFC team to a team that could maybe compete inside their own division. So I would go whether this be the stop of a fall for Derek Stingley or Kyle Hamilton, or, you know, you're getting into the second tier of the cornerback position like Andrew Booth from Clemson, Kaiir Elam from Florida. I wouldn't mind them going corner, safety, even linebacker. This could be Nakobe Dean, just to add another like playmaker and superstar on that side of the ball, because it's been so long that the Falcons have really been good defensively.
So based on your team needs list here, and you wrote this up for CBSSports.com, Josh, I'm assuming you're going quarterback defense here if given your choice.
Well, given the choice, I take a quarterback last year. You know, whether it be Justin Fields or Mac Jones, but, you know, that's revisionist history at this point. Yeah, I mean, you've got Matt Ryan under contract for another year, so maybe you go the traditionalist model of bringing in a guy and allowing him to sit for a year before you thrust him into the starting lineup. And that's probably best case scenario for the current state of this roster. But if you do not have that level of conviction with one of these quarterback prospects, as they apparently did not last year, then it makes sense for them to possibly go towards the defensive side of the ball. Maybe you take Tyler Linderbaum at center, but you probably go to the defensive side of the ball with, you know, a front 7 player, whether that's Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd, as Traps mentioned there. But lots of options for this team. I think they could go in a number of different directions. And that's kind of what makes them the pivotal points in this top 10, because it's really anybody's guess as to what they're thinking. They could go wide receiver. I mean, we don't know what the future holds for Calvin Ridley. You know, so this is a team that could really go in any number of directions.
Let me ask you this, and I'll ask you this too, Traps. Revisionist history. Are you taking Justin Fields at 3 if you're the Cowboys? If you're the Falcons? Or are you taking Micah Parsons? Or you can take Kyle Pitts?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, go ahead.
So I will, revisionist history, I would still probably go, man, everything that we've seen from Micah Parsons, it obviously makes it very enticing, but I would still go to one of those quarterbacks. I'd probably go to Justin Fields, who is the supreme athlete, in my opinion. I don't think Mac Jones would fare as well in this system, in this situation as he has in New England.
His name's Matt Ryan. That's what that would look like.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, revisionist history, I'm still probably taking Justin Fields, but man, Micah Parsons, everything that we've seen from him is obviously makes it very enticing.
Traps, what are you going to do?
I'm going quarterback too. I just wrote up Micah Parsons this week at CBSSports.com. Like, he's having one of the best rookie seasons that we've ever seen in like modern NFL history. I would go with either Justin Fields, and I know we haven't seen him very much, or Trey Lance, just because of the upside that both of those quarterbacks give you with their athleticism and their arm talent. So that was a kind of a head scratcher that they restructured Matt Ryan's deal right before the draft to kind of keep him there for 2 more seasons. When there was a new GM that a lot of people presumably or thought, hey, he's going to pick his own guy and just let him sit for a season. Now we're probably going to get 2 years of Matt Ryan. I do want to kind of change my answer about defense. I think in watching Falcons games, for as much as they need another star on the defensive side, that offensive line is really bad. Like, and some of those Thomas Dimitrov picks of Caleb McGarry, Chris Lindstrom. I'm thinking of the other guy that they just drafted, Morrissey up front. There's a lot of players.
Yeah, the kid out of Michigan, Jalen Mayfield.
Jalen Mayfield, a lot of like problems up front. So if you're really thinking about, okay, we want to help Matt Ryan this year and then also plan for the future, maybe you just say, hey, we've invested a lot as an organization, but for a new GM entering his second draft, you could say, hey, let's pick an offensive lineman that helps Matt Ryan this year. And then once we get our quarterback in 2023, we'll be stronger up front. That's kind of been the theme, that you want to have a rookie quarterback behind a solid offensive line. So I would go best defensive player. And if there's not like an elite guy like a Hamilton or a Stingley, maybe offensive line makes sense if there's one sitting there at 9.